Imagine building a multilingual customer service chatbot, generating a month's worth of highly targeted marketing copy, and, I don't know, debugging a complex software application,
Right.
all before lunch and without spending a single penny.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
It does. But today, in 2026, that isn't science fiction. I mean, it is literally just a standard Tuesday if you know which free generative AI tools to,
Yeah.
to string together. But for a lot of people, for you listening right now, the sheer volume of options is probably paralyzing.
Oh, absolutely. The landscape has completely fractured. You have this dizzying array of subscription tiers and paywalls and premium features just constantly being pushed at you.
Yeah, everywhere you look.
Exactly. It
Right.
is incredibly easy to feel like you are falling behind your competitors simply because, well, you don't have the massive R&D budget of a Fortune 500 tech enterprise.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because navigating this current ecosystem feels a bit like walking into a massive industrial hardware store without a shopping list.
That is a great way to put it.
Right. You know for a fact that there are tools in there that can practically build a house for you. But you have absolutely no idea which aisle to start in.
And you definitely don't want to buy the, $1,000 laser-guided power saw when a simple hammer would have done the trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive is to cut through that noise. We are taking a massive stack of research, primarily anchored by this really comprehensive article from AI 365. It's titled Generative AI Tools Free, Top Picks for 2026.
It's a fantastic breakdown.
It really is. And we are going to figure out how to leverage the absolute best free tools available right now, whether you're a manager, a content creator, or just insanely curious without touching your wallet.
And to do that effectively, we need to move past simply listing what these tools are. Because, frankly, the real competitive advantage lies in understanding the underlying mechanics of how they operate.
Right, the why behind them.
Exactly. Why are they structured this way? How do they actually automate your repetitive tasks? And really, how do these free tiers democratize access to cutting-edge technology for, say, an individual professional or a small, agile team?
So let's start that breakdown with a company that approaches this space by basically trying to capture your entire digital life. Google.
Naturally.
Yeah. Rather than just offering a single isolated application, the Google Cloud ecosystem acts as this massive interconnected digital Swiss Army knife, especially if your business is already operating inside Google Workspace.
Which so many are.
Right. Let's look at Google AI Studio. This gives developers, students, researchers, it gives them free usage of the Gemini models, but the feature that really changes the game here is its multimodal capability.
And multimodal is a term that gets thrown around a lot right now, but think about the actual mechanism at play.
Okay, break that down for us.
So historically, you would prompt an AI with text, right?
Yeah.
And it would return text.
Standard chatbot stuff.
Exactly. Multimodal means the underlying architecture of the model can process entirely different types of data simultaneously.
Wait, simultaneously.
Yeah. So in Google AI Studio, you can literally feed the model a complex, hand-drawn flowchart of a software architecture on a napkin.
Literally a photo of an app.
Literally a photo of a napkin,
Thank you.
alongside a text document describing your business goals. And the AI synthesizes both the visual logic of the image and the semantic meaning of the text to generate the actual underlying code for that infrastructure. Yeah. It gives you a web-based environment to prototype these incredibly complex applications without ever putting a credit card down.
That is wild. And then, okay, inside that same ecosystem, you have Notebook LM.
Oh, I love Notebook LM.
This one is fascinating because it solves the biggest complaint people have about AI, which is hallucinations. The base tier is free, and you upload your own PDFs, Google Docs, web links, whatever. Then the AI acts as a personalized assistant that answers questions based strictly on the material you provided. So my question is this essentially like having a highly caffeinated intern who has memorized every single document on my desk and can instantly retrieve the exact data point I need?
I would actually take that intern analogy one step further.
Okay.
This intern doesn't just retrieve the data, they format it into the exact analytical framework you need without ever guessing or, making things up.
Right.
The mechanism Notebook LM uses is a form of retrieval augmented generation.
RAG.
Yes, RG. When you ask a question, it doesn't search its vast, generalized training data from the open internet.
It's walled off.
Totally walled off. It runs a search exclusively against the semantic index of the documents you uploaded. It pulls the relevant paragraphs into its active memory and then synthesizes its answer based solely on those specific paragraphs.
So if you upload a massive, 500-page proprietary financial report.
It becomes an airtight expert solely on that report.
That is a massive operational shift for anyone doing heavy research or brainstorming, where, accuracy to internal data is paramount.
Huge shift.
But beyond the big-name tools, there were these hidden gems in Google Cloud. Things like free tiers for translation, speech-to-text, natural language processing, video intelligence, all available to a certain monthly quota.
Right, the API access.
Yeah, meaning if you are a solopreneur, you could literally plug their speech-to-text and translation APIs together to build a customer service chatbot that speaks 20 languages.
Easily.
And as long as your traffic stays under that quota, your overhead is zero.
And what's fascinating here is Google's overarching strategy of ecosystem retention.
Getting you hooked.
Right. They understand that the highest point of friction for any business is migrating away from the infrastructure they already use.
Oh, migration is a nightmare.
The friction of migration is the ultimate moat. By embedding these incredibly powerful capabilities directly into Google Workspace and Cloud, they are essentially building the walls of the garden higher.
But making the garden itself incredibly plush.
Exactly. They want you prototyping your multilingual chatbot in AI Studio today, so that in 2 years, when your business scales and you finally exceed that free quota, you are so deeply integrated into their architecture that moving to a competitor is unthinkable.
It's brilliant. Get them in the door with the free samples, and they'll eventually buy the whole grocery store.
Precisely.
But let's shift gears. Once you have that back-end infrastructure sorted, you have to actually communicate your ideas, your products, your services to the world efficiently.
The front-facing stuff.
Right. The front-facing side of business is content.
And this is where we see the most congestion in the market right now.
It's overwhelming.
The sheer number of tools designed to generate text, images, and, automate workflows is just staggering.
So we have to run through the major players here to understand how they fit together. You obviously have OpenAI's ChatGPT. The free plan gives you access to GPT 3.5 and a limited window into their flagship GPT-4 model.
Which is incredibly powerful on its own.
Yeah, it is the baseline for drafting emails, outlining blog posts, and just raw ideation. Then you have Microsoft's Copilot. Because Microsoft partnered so heavily with OpenAI, Copilot brings that generative power directly into Microsoft 365.
Right, and think about the mechanics of that integration. If you are looking at a 5,000-row Excel spreadsheet, Copilot isn't just a chat window sitting next to it on your screen.
It's actually in the software.
It is hooked into the actual cells. You can ask it in plain English to identify the top 3 sales trends over the last quarter, and it processes the raw data in those cells to generate a summary chart on the spot.
Which saves hours of manual pivot table building. I hate pivot tables.
We all do.
And for the visual side, Canva has integrated Magic Write and Magic Media into their free plan. You type in a text prompt, and it generates the visual layout, the social graphics, or the raw images you need. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
When I look at this roster of tools, my instinct is to push back on the redundancy.
What do you mean?
Wait, if I am using ChatGPT for drafting my marketing copy, why do I need a tool like Jasper, which also offers a free tier for copywriting? Aren't they doing the exact same thing?
Well, they are processing text, but they are entirely different machines built for entirely different purposes.
Okay, how so?
Using ChatGPT for final marketing copy is like using a Swiss Army knife to chop down a tree.
Okay, I like that.
I mean, it can do it, but it's going to be messy and generic. Jasper's underlying models, on the other hand, have been fine-tuned specifically on high-converting marketing copy and brand voice consistency.
So it knows the frameworks already.
Exactly.
So the smartest workflow isn't to pick just one free tool. It is to set them up like an assembly line.
Yes, that's the way to look at it.
You use ChatGPT at the very beginning of the line for the raw ideation. You tell it, give me 10 broad angles for a newsletter about supply chain logistics. It generates the raw material. But you don't publish that.
Never publish the raw output.
Right. You take that raw draft, move it down the assembly line to Jasper, feed it your specific brand voice guidelines, and have Jasper refine it into a polished piece. Then you move it further down the line to Canva to instantly generate the visual assets to accompany the post.
You are basically building a decentralized marketing agency on your desktop.
And it costs nothing.
But the most critical component of this assembly line isn't the AI tools themselves. It is the invisible pipes connecting them.
Right.
This is where a tool like Zapier comes into play.
The automated conveyor belt.
Exactly. Let's look at how an API trigger actually fires behind the scenes. Zapier lists over 20 of the top generative AI tools and allows you to connect them through free automation workflows.
Just to clarify, an API.
Right, an application programming interface.
Right.
It is essentially a doorway that allows two different software programs to talk to each other. So you can set up a workflow where the trigger is, say, a new user submitting a form on your website. That event fires a signal through the API to ChatGPT, instructing it to draft a personalized welcome email based on the user's specific form inputs.
Okay.
Then another signal fires to Jasper to format that draft into your company's tone. A final signal fires to your email client to actually send it out. The entire sequence happens in milliseconds, completely autonomously.
We were creating a bespoke, automated content engine for zero cost. That is operational power that used to require, like, a dedicated IT department.
And a massive budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But eventually, you might need to go beyond content. You might need to build custom infrastructure or fix the software your business actually relies on.
Yes.
And even if you are not a software engineer, the mechanics of coding have fundamentally changed.
The barrier to entry hasn't just been lowered, it has been practically eradicated by tools designed to translate natural human language into functional machine code.
It's unbelievable. Let's look at Gemini Code Assist. This offers free daily and monthly request limits for individuals. And it integrates directly into the software environments where developers actually write code, like VS Code or JetBrains.
Right, and the IDE.
Yeah, it does code completion, it helps debug, and it does unit test generation. Now, I am not a developer, so explain unit test generation to me.
Sure.
Because to me, that sounds like the AI is just making up a test for its own homework.
That's a funny way to look at it. But conceptually, a unit test is a script written specifically to stress test a small, isolated piece of your software, a unit, to ensure it behaves exactly as expected under different conditions before you launch it to the public.
Okay, so making sure it doesn't break when a user clicks the wrong button.
Exactly. And historically, writing these tests was incredibly tedious. Developers hated doing it because it slowed down the actual building process.
I can imagine.
But now, Gemini Code Assist can analyze the function you just wrote, understand its underlying logic, and instantly generate the code required to rigorously stress test it.
So it's basically automating the quality assurance department.
Essentially, yes.
And it's not just Google doing this. Anthropic's Claude has a robust free tier that the AI 365 article specifically highlighted for its ability to help with complex architecture discussions and deep code reviews.
Claude is fantastic for that.
And we are even seeing academic institutions jumping in to remove the financial friction of accessing these models.
The Harvard AI Sandbox is a prime example of this.
I think this concept is brilliant. The sandbox provides eligible users with free access to multiple large language models without worrying about hitting a paywall.
It's such a great resource.
To me, this sounds exactly like a tasting menu at a Michelin star restaurant. You do not have to commit to buying the whole massive, expensive meal. You get to bring a specific coding problem to the sandbox, and you get to sample how all these different massive predictive text engines tackle it.
Yes, exactly.
You see how GPT-4's logic differs from Claude's logic or Gemini's logic?
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we are witnessing the absolute democratization of software troubleshooting.
Democratization? How so?
Think about the traditional friction of learning to code. You write a script, you execute it, it fails, and the terminal spits out a massive block of dense red error text.
The dreaded red text.
Right. A decade ago, you would spend 4 hours scouring forums trying to decipher what went wrong.
Hoping someone else had the exact same problem in 2014.
Exactly. Today, you take that exact error log, paste it directly into Gemini Code Assist, and it doesn't just point out the error. It maps the semantic relationships within your code base to understand the context of the failure, explains the logic flaw in plain English, and provides the corrected snippet of code.
It literally turns natural language into a programming language. If you can clearly articulate the problem, the machine writes the solution.
It's profound.
But wait, we have to pause here.
Okay.
We have spent this entire time talking about building automated pipelines, generating code, and analyzing financial documents for free. Servers cost money. Compute power is incredibly expensive. If I am doing all of this for $0, someone is paying the electric bill. What is the actual cost of free here?
That is the exact critical lens you need to apply to every single tool we've discussed today. These are massive corporations, and they are not operating charities.
Obviously not.
There are severe trade-offs, starting with hard usage limits. Every free tier caps the number of requests, the volume of words, or the amount of compute you can use in a given time frame.
Which means if you build your entire customer onboarding sequence on a free Zapier and ChatGPT pipeline, and you suddenly go viral and hit a massive spike in traffic, your automated systems could literally hit a wall.
Oh, absolutely. The API requests will bounce, and your business processes will just shut down until the limit resets the next day.
Wow.
Precisely. You have to evaluate whether those hard caps align with your actual real-world workload. But the far more insidious trap, and the one that trips up even sophisticated businesses, is data privacy.
Okay, I am looking at some of these privacy policies right now, and I'm genuinely terrified.
As you should be.
If a tool's free tier policy states that it uses user inputs to improve its services,
Yes.
am I essentially paying for that free tool by handing over my company's intellectual property?
Yes.
So if I upload my proprietary unreleased software code to have it debugged, or I feed my internal Q3 financial strategy into a free chat window to get a summary, does that data become part of the machine?
The harsh reality is, in many cases on a free tier, yes. Your data is the currency paying for that compute power.
Oh my God.
The models train on the inputs they receive to improve their semantic understanding for the next iteration of the algorithm. If you paste proprietary code into a consumer-facing free-tier chatbot, you have effectively leaked your own IP.
That is a nightmare scenario. It's the classic, if the product is free, you are the product.
It really is. Now, the provider policies vary wildly, and they change constantly.
Right.
Some explicitly state they will use your inputs for training. Others explicitly state they will not. The burden of due diligence is entirely on you. If you are handling sensitive business information, customer data, or anything resembling a trade secret, you cannot blindly paste it into a free prompt window. You must read the fine print.
So how do you actually utilize these tools without risking the company?
You have to view free tiers strictly as a testing ground for scalability.
Just a testing ground.
Yes. You use the free tier to learn the interface, test the capabilities of the AI using dummy data or publicly available information, and build out the logic of your workflow.
Okay, that makes sense.
Once you prove that the tool actually brings tangible efficiency to your operations, you evaluate the upgrade path. Transitioning to a paid enterprise tier is usually the only way to secure a legally binding data privacy agreement where your inputs are walled off and not used to train the underlying model.
Got it. Okay, we have covered incredible ground today. We essentially built a massive operational blueprint without spending a dime.
We really did.
We started by leveraging Google's interconnected ecosystem, using AI Studio for multimodal problem solving, and Notebook LM's retrieval systems to interrogate our own documents securely.
Yep.
Then, we built an entire automated content assembly line, using ChatGPT for raw ideation, Jasper for brand refinement, Canva for visual generation, and Zapier's APIs as the invisible pipes connecting them all together.
A fully functioning agency.
Exactly. We also looked under the hood at how tools like Gemini Code Assist and the Harvard AI Sandbox are removing the massive friction of software development, turning plain English problem solving into functional code.
And most importantly, we established the critical guardrails.
Right, the catch.
Understanding that while the financial cost is zero, you have to strictly manage usage caps and fiercely protect your intellectual property by using free tiers as testing grounds, not enterprise solutions.
The core benefit of diving into this massive hardware store today isn't just the immediate cost savings, it is the skill development. Learning how these models think, learning how to engineer the right prompts, and understanding how to string APIs together.
Exactly. These are the skills that give you leverage right now, and they are the baseline requirements for operating in the economy of tomorrow.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. I highly encourage you, the listener, to pick just one of these free tools, whether it is Notebook LM, a Zapier workflow, or Canva, and just start experimenting with it today.
And this raises an important question to leave you with.
Oh, I love these. Let's hear it.
We have seen how generative AI allows us to automate repetitive tasks and accelerate complex workflows today. But let's look at the broader implications of that trajectory.
Okay.
If we can currently delegate 80% of our administrative and operational burden to free AI tools, if the machine can write the marketing copy, debug the software, and generate the financial analysis as these models become even more autonomous and capable?
Yeah.
Will the future of work be less about the hard skills we possess to do the job and entirely about our ability to ask the right questions to the machines doing the work for us?